It began with a single phone buzzing in the dark. A faint vibration on a nightstand in a quiet apartment in Paris. The journalist reached for it, half awake, unaware that this small, glowing screen had already become her enemy. Behind the simple light of that device, something was moving, silently, invisibly, watching everything. Pegasus. A piece of code designed not to steal money, but to steal truth itself. Built by one of the most secretive Israeli tech firms, NSO Group, Pegasus was never meant for the public to know. Its creators claimed it was a weapon against terrorism, a tool to track drug cartels and kidnappers. But somewhere along the line blurred. The hunter became the hunted, and governments began turning this invisible weapon inward, on their own people. In 2016, cybersecurity experts at the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab made a startling discovery. A human rights activist in the United Arab Emirates had received a suspicious text message promising new information about torture victims. The message looked innocent, but something about it felt wrong. Instead of clicking, he forwarded it to Citizen Lab. When researchers opened it in a controlled environment, what they found would shake the world of digital espionage to its core. The link contained Pegasus, an exploit so advanced that it could infect an iPhone with a single tap. Once inside, it took everything: messages, photos, contacts, GPS location, even the microphone and camera. The user wouldn't notice a thing. The phone worked normally, but every secret, every whisper, was being copied in real time and sent to a remote command server. The scale of it was staggering. Pegasus didn't rely on social engineering alone. It could slip in through missed calls on WhatsApp or even through zero-click vulnerabilities, meaning the victim didn't have to do anything at all. Their only mistake was owning a smartphone. At first, it seemed like an isolated case, but as forensic reports spread, a pattern emerged. Journalists, lawyers, political opponents, and human rights activists from across the world discovered they had been watched. Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, India, Morocco. The list kept growing. Pegasus was everywhere, crossing borders without passports, invisible to any firewall. In an office lined with flickering computer screens in Paris, reporters from Forbidden Stories and Amnesty International began connecting the dots. They had obtained a leaked list, 50,000 phone numbers believed to be potential surveillance targets. It included reporters from The Washington Post, The Guardian, Le Monde, and Al Jazeera. Names of activists, diplomats, opposition leaders, even heads of state. One name stood out: Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi journalist murdered inside the Istanbul consulate in 2018. Forensic analysis revealed Pegasus had infected the phones of several people close to him: his fiancée, his friends, and fellow dissidents. It seemed someone had tracked his every move, his calls, his plans. Pegasus didn't pull the trigger, but it helped aim the gun. Inside NSO Group's heavily guarded offices in Herzliya, Israel, executives denied everything. They repeated the same line: "We sell only to vetted governments for the sole purpose of combating terrorism and serious crime." But documents told another story. Pegasus had been used to target opposition figures in democratic countries, to silence journalists who exposed corruption, to crush dissent in places where freedom of speech was already fragile. In Mexico, more than 15,000 people were reportedly targeted, including anti-corruption investigators and even the family of a murdered journalist. In Hungary, the government allegedly used Pegasus to spy on investigative reporters, uncovering political scandals. In India, opposition leaders and election strategists found their phones had been compromised, raising questions about democratic integrity. The scandal erupted publicly in July 2021, when the Pegasus Project, a global consortium of journalists from 17 media outlets, released their findings. The headlines were explosive. Governments around the world scrambled to issue denials. Officials called it misinformation, an attack on national security tools. Yet, behind closed doors, intelligence agencies were in panic mode. Pegasus had become a synonym for surveillance gone rogue. In a small office in Washington, D.C., U.S. cybersecurity analysts pored over code samples from infected devices. What they found was unlike anything seen before. Pegasus didn't just exploit known weaknesses, it discovered new ones, 0 days, so rare and valuable that they were worth millions on the black market. Apple engineers scrambled to patch vulnerabilities, releasing emergency security updates to billions of devices. But each patch only bought time. NSO's developers were always one step ahead, evolving the spyware faster than anyone could stop it. The deeper investigators dug, the darker the implications became. Pegasus wasn't a virus. It was infrastructure. A global web of command centers operated through servers scattered across multiple countries, routed through fake companies and anonymous networks. It blurred the boundary between state surveillance and corporate espionage. Then came the lawsuits. Apple, in a rare move, sued NSO Group in U.S. federal court. WhatsApp's parent company, Meta, had already filed a similar case, accusing NSO of illegally hacking 2,400 users' devices through their platform. NSO Group claimed immunity, saying they acted on behalf of sovereign clients, but U.S. courts weren't convinced. In 2021, the Biden administration blacklisted the company, calling its operations a threat to global digital security. Inside the courtroom, lawyers painted a chilling picture. A world where your most private thoughts could be weaponized against you, where trust in communication itself was collapsing. Meanwhile, the people affected were left to pick up the pieces. One Indian journalist described it best. "It felt like my mind had been robbed. I don't know what's private anymore." For reporters, activists, and whistleblowers, the paranoia never left. Some destroyed their phones, others stopped using email entirely. They began meeting in open parks instead of offices, afraid their conversations might be recorded. What Pegasus had stolen wasn't just data. It had stolen peace of mind. Behind the headlines, the moral debate grew louder. Can a tool designed for national security ever truly be controlled? Or will it always find its way into the wrong hands? Governments justified their use, claiming they needed Pegasus to stop terrorism, child trafficking, and organized crime. But when citizens became the targets, who was watching the watchers? In a dimly lit conference room in Brussels, members of the European Parliament questioned experts and victims during a special inquiry. "How do we defend democracy?" one MEP asked, "when the very tools meant to protect it are being used to destroy it?" The silence that followed said everything. By 2022, pressure had mounted globally. NSO Group was drowning in lawsuits, its valuation plummeting. Several of its executives resigned quietly, but the technology didn't die with them. Copies of Pegasus, modified, rebranded, and resold, began surfacing through underground channels. It was as if the ghost of the code had escaped the lab, living on in digital shadows. In the intelligence community, whispers spread about successor programs, new spyware more advanced than Pegasus, capable of infecting cloud backups and encrypted apps. Whether those whispers were true or not hardly mattered. The damage had been done. The world now knew that privacy was an illusion. In an apartment in Paris, the same journalist whose phone had first buzzed years ago sits by the window, scrolling through her messages. Every ping, every vibration still makes her tense. The light from her phone reflects on her face, a soft glow in the darkness. She hesitates before replying to a colleague's message, her thumb hovering above the screen. Then she sighs and locks it. Because now, in this new world, silence feels safer than speech. As night falls across cities where the story first broke, Paris, Delhi, Mexico City, Washington, the hum of billions of devices continues. Screens light up, cameras blink. Somewhere, invisible code moves again, searching, listening, watching. And maybe, just maybe, as you read this, it's already watching you too. End with a lingering silence, then the faint, chilling vibration of a phone.